Good morning, YouTube! What's up, guys? Today we're doing the daily puzzle. Let's do it. Alright, so here we have really interesting white to move. Okay, looks like this rook is under attack, but the pawn is pinned. Also, notice we're almost checkmated. I mean, that rook goes to g1, it's checkmate for the king. Notice the king cannot move, so the rook g1 is that check that finishes it all. But what else? Can we maybe give any checks? I don't really see any checks that are like pretty valid. All checks are like, losing a piece. So I guess what we're trying to do is we're trying to prevent black from mating us, right? So what we can do is we can either play queen f1, interesting. If the rook takes queen, if the rook takes the queen and the king takes back, then we lose the rook, and black is a knight and a pawn ahead in material. Whereas we can also play rook to d1. This is interesting. So if we play rook to d1, we're getting us out of that attack, and also, we're kind of indirectly protecting g1. So if the rook goes to g1, our rook on d1 can capture it. So no more checkmate. But black can take the rook for free, right? So we're giving away that rook for free. So we have to think here. Are we gonna sack a rook, or do we have something better? Honestly, like here, I don't really see any compensation. Like, black's mate is almost instantaneous, and we have to be careful. We can't play passive moves, like taking this pawn. We have to come up with checks, and really, I don't see any checks, or at least any good checks for that matter. I mean, we can try giving a barrage after rook t8, king takes d8, queen b8, or queen g8, and then king c7, queen to f7, and then king to b6, and then there are no more checks, right? So we have to give a barrage of checks. But notice here, once we come to d1, this is allowing our queen to open up a little more, and the king remains on the c8 square. Whereas when we played rook to d8, the king is on the d8 square, right? So we want it on the c8 square, so we can give maybe like queen e6 check or queen g8 check. So let's go to d1. I think that's good. Great. Okay, so notice black still has the threat of rook g1, checkmate, right? But now that rook is gone. Since we moved that rook out of the way, we can maybe give a check, right? Play some active moves, right? What are some candidate moves? I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think like queen e6 or queen to g8. I think both of these are good, but which one is better? Queen to g8, king c7, queen f7, king g6, no more checks. We can even try playing queen g7 check after king to c7. Once the king moves to b6, our queen is on g7 now, and there's still no more checks because of this knight protecting the d4 square, right? So there's no more checks. However, we can play queen e6, which is much closer to that king, so it's a little easier for us to check and maybe attack. Notice if we check and the rook blocks, it's not threatening me anymore, so we're good, But I guess the whole point of this puzzle is to draw. So let's go queen e6. I think that's good. All right, good. Notice here, this king is trying to escape to maybe b6, so we have to make sure our queen, when it checks the king, has the possibility of going to c5 to check that king back, right? And push it either to c7 or a6. Most likely c7, because if a6 and our queen is on c5, we'll just checkmate, right? So I think what we have to do is we have to play queen to e7, because that allows us to check and come to this square, just in case the king comes to g6. So let's go here. Good, solved. So notice, once this rook blocks, we can't really give any more checks, but notice black can't give a threat, right? There's no checkmate anymore. So the computer suggests queen c5. I think this is a good square for the the queen, so that it can give a barrage at any moment, just in case one piece leaves the king, such as that rook. So if it comes back down to threaten checkmate, we just check, you know. And notice if the king goes to b6, we have this queen c5 resource. And most likely black will play king c7. If he plays king a6, then queen to a5, checkmate. So black also has to be careful. The barrage of checks. The queen is a scary piece, right? So, but, you know, this is just a draw. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that daily puzzle for today. Please be sure to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Take care.